it's hard to listen to any MAGA person talk about the things they value or believe in, because it feels like at the end of the day, what they actually value or believe in is whatever Trump says tomorrow.
One thing that you said with Ben there was that politicians shouldn't be a source of meaning for people. And maybe that's right that they shouldn't be a source of meaning, but it seems like people vote with their values, and their values are attached to where they draw their meaning from in life. And so when you say that, I just want to understand what exactly you mean.
Well, you can vote for somebody because they share your values, but I think it's probably not a healthy thing if we're like looking to politicians to also be like our cultural leaders at the same time. That probably leads to a lot of unhealthy political, like external negative effects, like culty behavior, I would say.
Okay, so how is it that we would then get politicians to embody our values, enact them? And
they can embody them and act them. I just don't know if they should be the ones like dictating our morals to us. Like ideally, you want them to be a reflection of your values, not the ones giving them to you.
Sure, but in a two-party system, ultimately you're going to have like a divide, very binary, and people are going to end up looking to whoever it is that they're supporting, right? Blue no matter who, or I'm always going to vote for Trump because fuck the Democrats, whatever side you fall onto. So people are going to naturally fall into that, and we can argue that philosophically that's not a good way to find meaning, and I don't think people are.
I think everybody's understanding. If you vote for somebody because they align with your values, that's fine. I'm just saying that you shouldn't be getting all of your culture and all of your meaning and all of your value from a politician. These things come from like friends and family. They could come from, if you're part of a religious movement, they could come from some type of like media that you consume, books or philosophers that you read, or movies or TV shows that you watch. Like these are the places of where you find like meaning and stuff. Hopefully you don't get that from like a politician. I think that's really scary.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay. So
they can align with us in terms of values, and we could vote on people and with our values because they align with us in our values, but it's not like, like I really want to save the ocean because AOC made me feel like I should be an environmentalist or something.
Totally. Fair enough. So Trump, the MAGA cult, right? Clearly you look at somebody like Benny Johnson, who, 7 months ago was talking about bread prices and egg prices and all this stuff. And now he's saying it's patriotic to lose money, right? Something that I heard you criticize him for.
Yeah.
But isn't it the same when you look at, say, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, something like transgenderism? Nobody was on board with that. And now it seems like almost everybody on the left is on board with that to some pretty extreme levels, right? Whether it be sports or change rooms. And that may be totally fine. But where did those values come from? They didn't believe that 15 years ago. Suddenly in 2016, everybody on the left was pro-trans or whatever.
I don't think it was suddenly. I think that it's been like a slow evolution of like LGBT stuff and then LGBT stuff over time. I don't think it was like an overnight, now we all are super pro-trans. I don't think that's the same as like Donald Trump saying something at 9 a.m. and then at 12 p.m. saying the complete opposite and everybody being on board with it. I think there's a lot of difference there. Like beliefs and views are going to evolve over time with people. I would imagine people on the left will probably be more progressive as time goes on socially. People on the right will push for their stuff socially. They just, yeah.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that it's like your values aren't rooted in some time period, and if they change at all, it was like a sudden, unpredictable change.
Okay, so Trump embodies an extreme example of what you're talking about.
Well, I think it's fundamentally different. I don't think, the thing is, the problem is that one, it's hard to listen to any MAGA person talk about the things they value or believe in, because it feels like at the end of the day, what they actually value or believe in is whatever Trump says tomorrow. So there are no like limiting principles. Like one of the things we would debate a lot for economics, and people were talking about presidential people would bring up, what is the economy going to look like under both people? And I thought, largely speaking, the Democrats ran it way better. And sometimes people would give me this, like, what about when Kamala said that she would do a wealth tax or tax on unrealized gains? And my response would always be, I think that's so beyond stupid. I'm not even worried about it, because there's just no way that she would be able to do it. Because if she were to go in and try to do something like that, every economic advisor, whoever the Treasury cabinet, like everybody said, like, this is so stupid. You're not doing this. It's dumb. And she'd be like, oh, okay, fine. Because that's just how the Democratic Party operates. Whereas Donald Trump, we've seen what Donald Trump has done. He'll literally, from hour to hour, can change stuff internationally in ways that we didn't even know were possible. It's so abhorrent. But all the Republicans seem to more or less in the media and in the political sphere are in lockstep with his messaging, no matter what he says, even if they got to change what they said, a few hours earlier. And that's really scary, I think.
Fair enough. I agree. And I think that Trump is like super dangerous, but to push back on the idea that it's only Trump or only MAGA that's doing this sort of cult behavior, when Joe Biden pardoned a bunch of people, which Trump did something even worse in pardoning all the J6 people, all of the left said, oh, that's totally fine. But
so to be clear, that absolutely didn't happen.
Okay. Well,
in fact, I would bet every dollar I own right now.
Okay, sorry.
To be clear, there were way more news outlets on the left that criticized that criticized Joe Biden for pardoning Hunter Biden than there were outlets on the right that criticized Trump for pardoning every single J6er.
Fair. You're right.
So it's not even remotely close, yeah. But okay.
Okay. But would you concede that there is an element of that in the left, even if there's way worse on the right, way worse with Trump, way worse with MAGA, that there's an element of that cult behavior when people that would have been principally opposed to
the problem is that like it's there's a threshold that you move past where it's not really the same type of thing anymore. So for instance, if somebody were to drink enough water to throw off the sodium balance of their body and they die, right? Okay, well, this guy just died drinking too much water. It's not good. Would you say, okay, well, sure, he had that unhealthy behavior, but would you agree that you engage in some of that too because you drink water? It's like, well, not really, no. Like, is there going to be some level of like people that follow around political parties based on what people say? Like, yeah, that's going to happen to some extent. But the Democratic Party, if anything, has the exact opposite problem where they're way more self-critical than they probably should be. And the Republican Party is lockstep in a way that would make Hitler jealous in terms of like when one guy says something, when Trump says something, you've got the entire eco-media sphere of the entire Republican establishment repeating the exact same talking point within like 2 minutes. Like they're all part of the same Hegseth signal group or something. It's say.
So I'm certainly not trying to argue that what, Donald Trump's MAGA cult is anything like what the left cult is, but you got to meet people where they are. It's something like what Ben was talking about, which is that people on the right, for whatever reason, do not trust the establishment. I mean, people on the left don't trust the establishment, but if you're describing, all of MAGA as this cult and you're saying that they're all like this is what the only reason they voted for Trump is because they're in a cult and they'll believe whatever he says. There's people like that, right? Benny Johnson, but
well, we just need more honesty. Here, we should just enforce more honesty. That's what I say. So if people on the right want to say they don't trust the establishment, okay, and that's why they're all anti-vaxxers now, that's fine. But no more Ozempic, no more Viagra, no more diabetes medicine, no more insulin. Like own it or don't own it. It can't be this like I don't trust any of these people except holy shit, I'm Alex Jones and Ozempic is out and now I'm fucking the big pharma #1 consumer, so I can lose 200 fucking pounds in a year. And then the next day it's like the second kid died of measles in Texas. I mean, who cares? It's 2 kids, right? Like that's it's unhinged or unreal to me that, supposedly there are illegal immigrants killing people in this country every single day, but for some reason the only person I ever heard about was Laken Riley dying. I don't know why that is the case. And they so hyperfixate on that trans athletes and illegal immigration has to be the #1 thing that we talk about. But how many thousands of people died from COVID for not getting vaccinated? Something that was so easy and so dumb. That's the big issue is I don't even know what people mean when they say things like that. Like, I don't trust the establishment, really? Because
okay.
Out of the final thoughts there.
Out of the people that have been on stage so far, how many of them, encapsulate this MAGA cult person that you're describing or this group of people? Because I don't feel like there was, well, I'm not going to say who, but there seemed like maybe one was on that side.
Well, it's harder because you're drawing from an audience of my fans here. But the problem is that like we have to get into like testing with examples to prove it, because somebody can sound really reasonable until you start asking them questions where like the rubber meets the road, and then you find out, okay, well, this is ridiculous, right? So
I guess final thought would just be like, I just think that your characterization of that MAGA cult side is overly broad, and I think that people on the right do that about the left, like much in the way that you were pushing back on some of the statements that I made earlier.
Okay.
All right, put it together for Mr. Burnett.